Hello, I'm Benson and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you my method of engraving white tiles using the NEJE MAX 4 machine. The NEJE MAX 4 is a 4-stack laser which is a 20-watt power output. My setting hopefully will be your stepping stone towards your own engraving journey. You still need to fine-tune your laser to your needs, but hopefully I can show you what the machine can do. If you are new and stuck, feel free to go through all the chapters of and learn whatever that I have done already. I'm a big fan of sharing knowledge. When I first started, I started in the dark. I asked loads of questions, getting information from everywhere. And to be honest with you, some forums are not really beginner friendly. They will say, why don't you just go and test it yourself? So hopefully my video will give you some starting setting, at least get to a point where it's easier for you to actually fine tune your laser. But let me just show you what I've been able to do in the last few days with the NEJE MAX 4. Let's start with reverse order. So this is the latest creation. So I literally done it a couple of minutes ago. So this is me and my son out about in London. It's a photo taken by iPhone 12 Pro. It's a selfie, so it's not even the front camera, which is like brilliant pictures. But this is engraved onto white tile, so it's never to come off. And I did not use any image processing with a external program. There's no Photoshop, there is no image R whatsoever. Everything was done in Lightburn. And then this one here is an AI image that I download from the internet. Fortunately enough, this is quite a high resolution, and because there is not a lot of shading, so the picture come out fantastic. These two pictures is not taken by me. Those are lower resolution photos. In my own experience, usually if a photo is larger than, let's say, 1 or 2 megabytes in size, they usually have enough pixel density for you to engrave on a 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters white tiles. But if you use for example, this photo here is another AI image that I download from Facebook. Now this image here is in the magnitude of kilobyte, and you can see that there's a lot of a deflector blurriness to it, so it's not sharp. But it's not because the process is wrong, but because the picture is not enough pixels, so it becomes blurry. So it's very important to make sure you have the right picture to begin with. So when you are just starting out and trying to get your foundation right in terms of the setting, make sure you begin with a nice solid picture that you're going to yield good results. This one here and this one here, later on in the video they will get their own credits. So this is downloaded from the internet. So this is from Laserpic, and they are free images for us to use. So some designer already done the hard work in terms of making the image perfect. When I come to showcase how to transfer the file from Lightburn onto the machine, feel free to download this and give them credits for that they are due. They have Patreons, and they sell the pictures as well, so please feel free to support them. I won't go through every single tile here because later on in each of the chapters some of them will get mentioned, and I had lots of tips and tricks that I learned over the last weeks and days that hopefully will help you to get onto your laser journey. So there's many ways to apply titanium dioxide onto your white tiles. Some people like the spray can thing. I think they're quite consistent as well, but they're quite expensive as well, and you also have to spend a lot of time cleaning up. This same concept, I have made a video regarding how to use a water-based product like PVA glue, which works just as well. But in summertime, I gave up on using the PVA method because no matter how careful I am, unless I get a brush which is bigger than the tile, I always end up with some kind of a brush stroke mark. So this one kind of gives me the best result. So hopefully, if you have no luck with the brush, then this is what I go to do. And the reason why I say summer is because this is toxic chemicals, and this is a vapor, fumes and stuff like that. So I always do it outside. In the garden. So I got 2 spray guns here, and you can see that I tried both of them already. And the sprayer with the Y is the one that I always go for, and I'll tell you why. The titanium dioxide is actually a suspension, so it's not really a mixture. So it does have to have a strong airflow to have a consistent spray. The reason why you can get a good finishing on the tile without streak mark is because when you're spraying it, usually you cover it quite well, as long as you don't have any runs. What it means is don't spray on one spot for too long. And the other tips with this kind of a gun is that when you first press it, lightly press it, it activates the air which comes out from here, and that air tends to help to dry out isopropyl alcohol. So if you find that you spray 1 or 2 layers and you think, oh no, actually a bit too heavy-handed, just release the trigger so that there's only air coming out. The air will help to transfer the vapor away from the towels, and the towel will just dry straight away. Especially in the warm weather when the towel has residual heat, it will actually evaporate the alcohol really quickly. So when you spray, obviously you try to do it as even as you can. Watch some YouTube video, I'm sure the same apply to spraying any kind of surfaces. And the other reason why I like this kind of gun is because the needle size here is very big. With the powder in there, as long as you don't have clumps of powder sucking into the flow, even if it dries at the nozzle here, it won't block. Whereas if I use the hand bottle sprayer, it always blocks after a few uses, no matter what. In terms of ingredients, I got plain titanium dioxide here. I got this from eBay. And also be careful with this powder. Itself is not toxic, you can eat them. They actually sell for making cake and stuff like that to make a white icing and stuff. But it's extremely dangerous if you inhale them. Just like coolant, we now have a label on there, please don't drink coolant. I guess this is just information for you guys that don't inhale the powder. It does get a bit messy, it does fly in the air, and when you burn the laser, when you use laser to burn your towel, the dust can get everywhere because you do need to clean your machine from time to time. I always have an extractor on, but I don't have air assist on. So just be careful, guys. Make sure you wipe down the surfaces so you don't inhale too much of this toxic powder. It's not titanium dioxide which is poison, it's the fine particles which you inhale. Same as, like, you know, if you're sanding slate to reuse, make sure you have good ventilation and maybe wear a mask. Now the reason why I don't like this one is, even though it's portable and convenient, I very much would like one of these to replace that. But reality is, even with a big battery, when you spray, I find that you don't get the fine control like the bigger gun does. There is just not enough airflow to have an even spray, and even when it does, it's only in midstream. What I mean is, when you press, it takes a while for the motor to get to full speed. So the first 1 second is kind of quite wet spray coming out, and then it becomes a fine mist, and then when you release, the motor kind of slow down a bit, and then the end 1 second you always get the spray of droplets. The droplets will actually show on the towels. If you have like big clumps of drops on the towel which is not uneven, it will show on the fine result. Maybe I'm just a bit picky because I hate seeing any defect on a tile. Some people like that because, like, you know, at the end of the day, this is engraving, not printing. So food coloring, I'm in two minds about this. One thing I want to tell you guys is that, you know, when you use food coloring, it's supposed to tell you where you have sprayed on the towel, but you do have to use a lot of this to make your color dense enough to show on the towel. And my method to tell if you have enough spray on the towel is actually by looking at the angle. So the first step I do is to clean the towels. Now these are donated by a local people. This white towel is really common in terms of like a bathroom in the UK, and a lot of them have leftovers. This person actually gave me 2 full boxes plus these little bits as well. I promise I'm going to give him something in return, so I'm going to engrave something for him later. But what you need is isopropyl alcohol. I have them in the spray bottle. It's just easier to handle that way, so I'm not pulling them out onto the rack. You need a piece of cloth. Any kind of cloth will do. Now I personally don't know how much different it will make in terms of cleaning the towels, but it's just a good practice, I guess. They say there is oil residue on all the towels. I'm not sure. Just be careful. Ceramic towel is really sharp, especially when you try to hold it like this. The edges sometimes they are quite sharp, so you know they might cut your hand, even though if you have like thick layer of colors. I usually do 8 towels at a time, and I can show you why in a minute, because I use a racking system which actually hold the towels together. And also I don't like to do too many at one time, because this method of spraying the titanium on the towel is really delicate. If you touch it and that's it, it will wipe off some of the titanium dioxide. So in winter time, when I can't spray outside, what I'll do is I use the PVA method. So we've got 8 towels here. you got some screws here which is actually holding them on to the rack. And when I press, a soft press, when you do a soft press, nothing will come out, but when you trigger and then pull harder, and you can see the powder will come out. So what we do is we want a nice and even spray. Now even though I'm outside, I don't really like to spray without my mask. That is because the titanium dioxide, when you spray it out, it kind of disperses in the air. You don't want to inhale too much of that, so you know, I usually wear my aspirator for that. Now you don't want to go over it too many times at once, or else you will start to have runs. And you can see, I mean, I don't know if the cameras can pick it up, but actually as soon as the liquid hits it, within a few seconds it will evaporate. So for example, if you spray a lot at a time, if I get very close, and suddenly you find that it's too wet, so all you need to do is just use the air to evaporate the alcohol. I hope I managed to show you what I mean by reflection. So the towel actually catches the light, and I can see it at that corner right here. Now if you see a lot of this sparkling light, that means that your towel is not coated to the required layer. So let's go back and do a few more. So now I don't see that catch light anymore. In fact, camera find it difficult to focus without those kind of shiny lights. So I think this one is ready. If you are starting out new on your laser journey, I strongly recommend don't go straight for any images that you like to engrave. So I've got laser pics here. I will put the link on the description. So this is a free website. They are relying on advertisement and also some of the pay part of the website, but there are loads of free images that you can download and try it for yourself. Now on the bottom here, they usually will tell you what's the size of the image. Now if you are just starting with a small tile, then you can find the image close to that, so that you have minimum amounts of loss in quality when you kind of stretch it or shrink it down. For me, I always go with a picture which has lots of shading and details. And today I'm going to choose this one here because I have good results with this before, with aluminium cards as well as engraving on tiles with different machines. And here it will tell you who is the owner of the image, and this is by Matthew Ullman. Now there's two things that you can do. One is you can download the original photo and then let Lightburn deal with the rest. This is my ideal way of dealing with stuff, because in the future I'm going to use my own photos and I'm going to rely on Lightburn to make the changes. But you can also download a prepared version. So this is already converted into a laser burnable file. You can download that and then use like kind of pass-through function on Lightburn, which I'm not going to go through with you today. Now all this is free, so you know, if anyone tries to sell this image to you, then make sure you come to this website instead. Click on download and then press download, and that's it. It will be downloaded onto your computer. So I draw a square, and then I want to make sure that the square is a little bit bigger than my tile. My tile is 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters, so I'm going to do 153 by 153. Okay, so 3 mils bigger than my tile. Now just a good practice, I always put it in the middle of my bed, so you can do a shortcut by clicking move to center of page. I'm sorry if it is something that you knew already, you've feel forward to skip forward by 30 seconds or by a minute or whatever that is. So now you have this square here, and I'm going to click on T1. Okay, this will become a mask layer. This is going to be our grid. Whatever falls inside the grid will be engraved. Whatever falls outside the grid will not be engraved. Now I'm going to go to import. I'm going to find the image that we download. Now I downloaded it twice, that's why it come up in bracket 2, but doesn't really matter. If you have a look at the property, you can see that the size are usually in the magnitude of megabyte. And if you have a photo which is like with the properties in terms of like 5 megabyte is okay, is workable. But sometimes when you download images on the internet, for example Facebook group, and then you go to download, you will see that they become kilobytes. And 778 kilobytes is not that bad. I mean, when it gets down to let's say 100 kilobytes, then you know you don't have enough pixels to play with. But this is just a general guide. If you want to study about like pixels and like compressions and file size, there's loads of tutorial on the internet. So when you import a photo onto Lightburn and it comes up like this, and you can always move it aside. But this is quite demanding on processor, so my computer is quite old, so it is going to be lag a bit. So just bear with me. So here you can resize the picture by dragging these left and right, or use the command. I usually lock the ratio so that it doesn't change anything. Now in this case, I don't want to change resolution. I rather it just prints whatever the best resolution is already on the screen. I drag a selection which covers both of the grid and the file. When both of them are selected, you right click and then go to apply mask to image. Suddenly your image will disappear. Now this is because your image is outside the grid area. Now you click on just the photo itself. So click on anywhere else, now this disappears, but actually the photo is still there. It's just that the computer is not showing it. So now if you click on the image and then drag it into the mask layer, and magic's happen. So Lightburn will actually help you to exclude anything which is not in the grid. Now this is my go-to method of making any images available. Now if you have a slow computer like mine, one of the best things you can do now is right click and then flatten image mask. What it does is it completely ignores the rest of the photo and you can't change that anymore. So I don't want my computer to lag, and this is what I would do. But you can actually leave it on like this and then press engrave. It will just engrave whatever is inside the area. So flatten image from mask. Now my computer is a lot more responsive because it's now no longer need to work out the rest of the photo in conjunction with the project. Now you can see that this photo actually is really high resolution. So when you zoom in, you can't really see any pixels. This is exactly what you want. But I haven't finished with this yet. In my experience, when I'm engraving, I'm always going to adjust the photo. And even if you don't, it should be good. Now I go to enhance radius. Don't ask me why. I just done hundreds of these photos. I do 5, and then I do 250. It's very subtle, but what it does is enhance the lines of the images. That's all I'm going to touch. I'm not going to touch any contrast, brightness, gamma and stuff like that. The more I mess with it, the more it becomes a nightmare for engraving. Now is the time that you will punch in the details of your engraving. So if this is relevant to your laser, so if you have a 20-volt laser like I do, or if you actually have the NEJE MAX 4, this is exactly what I will put in. So speed is 3000 millimeter per minute. Max power is 20%. Air assist is off. Overscan is 1%. Line interval is 0.09. Now it doesn't always come up as a whole number, but I think Lightburn will actually ignore anything which is not 0.0 digit. So it comes up to about 281 dot per inch. Scan angle is 0, so I want the laser to go this direction. I think this laser have a very good X-rail, so that is more stable. Z offset. Now this depends on what laser you have. Now the Max 4 have a automatic Z offset. I set my laser exactly to the bed at 50 mil, so 5 centimeters from the baseboard. So the Z axis have to travel downwards to meet the burn material. I find that my best focus at 16 millimeter downwards, and the tile and the base measured at about 10 mil. So if you do the math, so 50 minus 10, so that's 40. 40 minus 16, so that will be 24. So that means that my focal length is 24. Now after the engraving, right at the end, I will tell you how I actually work out my focal length. But you know, you need to do a ramp test. But anyway, so dot width correction, I do 0.05. Now this get a bit technical. It actually asks the laser to fire at a different frequency to compensate the kind of a shape of the laser. But like I say, play around with it. This is the best result that I get. Image mode, I choose dither. Basically it's just how they arrange the dot. You can actually choose any of these available version, but I always choose dither. Number of pass is just 1, and this is all my settings. Now here is what I really enjoy having my own enclosure and my camera, because a lot of the time people ask like, oh, do you use your camera? Yes, actually I do, but I still need to fine tune it afterwards, but it makes my life a lot easier, I think. So on Lightburn, if you click on the camera button, it take a photo of what is happening over there and overlaid it over this side. Now remember, this is sprayed on titanium dioxide, so you want to touch the side and not the front, okay? I will take a picture again. So this time the white tile is behind my picture there. So you can do two things. You can move that and then take a picture again, but that is just too troublesome, right? So what I do now is I will drag this photo to cover my tile. You see that my tile is behind there, white tile, and I am going to cover it exactly. Now this is not the end, because the camera is not 100% accurate, so you still need to do framing. So hopefully there is other video to explain how you keep the laser on when framing and all that, but I already got that set up. So the top, the laser is hitting the top, but not on the all three sides. So that means that all I need to do is push this image up, and then I will be perfect aligned with the tile, because the picture is 3 mil bigger than the tile. So if I move that upwards, that means that, you know, the whole picture is going to be engraved plus a bit more onto the metal, which I don't really care. And I'm going to tell Lightburn to move the picture up by 1 mil on the y-axis. Yeah. Now I'm going to frame again. So the laser jerk up a little bit. So the laser dot no longer hitting the top of the tile. In fact, the laser is not hitting any of the tile. So I know there will be no white space left on the tile. So now it is ready to go. But before I go, I want to show you guys something really interesting. Usually I will take the laser off, but I don't want to disturb my focal distance. So have a look at this. This is supposed to be flat. Look at how much titanium dioxide or whatever burn soot it builds up here. If it starts to block the hole entirely, the laser can't get through, and that's when you run into a bit of problem. If you have a low air pressure air assist, I do recommend turning that on, but for me, I bought extra lens. There is a glass lens inside protecting the laser. I bought enough of them because I know they are consumable, so I'm not really care about not using air assist on the titanium dioxide. But if you guys want to look after your machine, then, you know, make sure that you have some kind of air assist. Now the lens is clean. I kind of do the framing again. Now it's ready to go, and you just press start. For me, having an enclosure is a big part of working in my particular studio. I got an extractor fan which go directly outside, and then when it closes, it actually have negative pressure. What it means is nothing is going to come out. The only way airflow is from the side in and then out that way. Whenever we laser, there's a lot of harmful chemicals. Even if it is not harmful, for example, titanium dioxide, if you inhale too much of it, if you have a long exposure to them, you are going to get in trouble eventually. So let me open the box and let you see that in action. If you get your speed and power right, you will hear that kind of lovely laser singing sound. Every time you hit the dark spot, you almost can hear the high-pitched noise, and that is exactly what you're looking for. If your machine is set up correctly, there should be no banding and the whole image should be consistent. Sometimes consistently good, sometimes consistently bad, depends on what setting that you are asking the laser to do. It's crazy to think how affordable laser is in 2024. Just a couple of years ago, a laser will cost up to like 1,000 or 2,000 pounds, and now you can buy one for like hundreds. I mean, the NEJE MAX 4, I bought it because of the cutting power, but actually it's not the best engraving machine out there. The best engraving machine is actually single diode laser, which have a much smaller laser dot, if you're looking for diode laser. But of course, there's even better machine out there like fiber lasers, which I haven't got my hands on yet. And if we are talking about other laser, I will introduce you to the laser packer. Now this one here is a diode laser, but it doesn't use the gantry system. Sorry, I can't switch on the light because I don't want to disturb the laser printer on the other side at the moment. But this one have a much smaller laser dot size, so you can do like 500 to 600 dpi, which makes a big difference if you are doing small detail stuff like these aluminum cards. You can't really achieve these kind of details with a normal diode laser, especially if they start stacking laser one on top of another. Okay, so we're just about to finish, and on Lightburn the timer now is on 1 hour 30 minutes. So this one took 1.5 hours to complete, which is quite a long time. And I think it's actually finished now, so it's now engraving on my metal plate. Remember, we have a 3mm offset, so now I can actually stop the machine and send it back home so it doesn't interfere with our filming. So this is the finishing product. As you can see, if you have a nice foundation picture to start with and the correct setting for your machine, it should come out almost like a print copy. And I have some images here. They are very low resolution, so when you expand them you lose a lot of details, but nevertheless it just means that you need to look at it from a bit further away. But with this kind of nice photo, even if you come up close, it should still be nice. So you can see nice black even coating on all the dark area, but still got nice detail around the eyes and all the headgear. Look at that details on the neck. This is not cleaned up yet, so once I kind of wash it under the tap, then the powder will go and the white will even more pops out. Just to show you guys, this is not a beginner's luck. Quality wise, perfect. There's no bending issues, there's no artifacts anywhere, there's no white edges anywhere, so this is fantastic. But I'm sure you guys are not satisfied, right? So let's show you a few more. This part of the video is about how to find the best focus for your laser. Every laser is different in terms of the focus distance. The manufacturer, NEJE, say that this laser is 25mm to the surface of where you to engrave. That's where the smaller spot size is. If you don't have a motorized Z-axis, then you just have to adjust it by hand. I'm not really technical about this kind of thing. I have a cheap USB microscope, which I don't know how to use. So I just go with what I kind of know. It might not be the most accurate, but it does get me where I need to go. Alright, so fantastic. We hear that loud buzzing noise, so it is doing something. The line may not be the best line that you will have. We move the line down every time by 1mm, and then now we move the head up and down, but we done 15, which is 25. Okay, so how about if we reduce that? Let's say the focal distance is less than 25. So let's say I want to try the focal point at 20. Okay, so we move down by another 5. Okay, the buzzing actually not so loud anymore, and the line is a lot thicker. That means that it's out of focus. Okay, let's say we want to try 30. Okay, so we move up by 5. Okay, so the noise is again minimal. So from this point onward, you can go by every 1mm. Okay, I know this sounds tedious, but it does work. And that is how I got the focal point for my laser engraver here. So I mean, at 16, that means it's actually 24mm from the material, which is not too far off. My focus is 24, 25 doesn't really make that much difference, but this worked the best for me. Sorry about the lighting, but one of the good things about using the ethanol titanium spray is that they're easy to clean. So here in my sink, I got a spider over there. Basically all I do is use a brush, any old brush, and some water. And you just give it a quick brush, and what it does is it loosens up the powder which hasn't been engraved on, so they just glide off. You don't need to use solvent anymore, no scrubbing or anything like that, just give it a good rinse. The white tiles do soak a lot of water at the back, so if you have a lot of woodworking like me in my studio, do not put this directly on the wood, because the moisture will come out and destroy the wood underneath. And be careful guys, ceramic edges is ultra sharp, and this kind of glove is not going to protect you. So let's go through some of the tile sample. So those 3 is the one in this video. Okay, I just do this one separately so that you can see a different image. I kind of love this actually picture. The eyes is sharp, the black is even, there's no banding or anything like that. So I think this is as good as the NEJE MAX 4 can do. These 2 here, again, got good shading on the face right here. The color, the details is fantastic. Now these are the hard work that I have done before I can get to this stage. So this one here, I use I think it's 318 or 316 DPI, and you can see that it tries to make more details, but actually the dots are a lot coarser. Some people like this kind of effect, but I actually like this one more. And this one has an interval of a 0.09, which is the result of using this. But the image itself is too low resolution. That's why, you know, it does have a blur effect on it. It doesn't look that sharp. But whereas when you get the right picture, and it looks really sharp. So these 3 is my best sample so far. They are my best setting at 3000 millimeters per minute at 20% power, and the line interval is 0.09. with a dot compensation of 0.05, and the laser is going on the x-axis, so 0-degree scan. Now if you do engrave a vector which is not a dot made up photos, you might have to change a different setting, but this video is only for photo engraving. Okay, I hope my video helps you. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my channel if you find my information useful. I can't wait to see you next time with more interesting gadgets. Bye bye.